Persona 5 is a complex game about the shackles of society, the drudge of daily life, and the inescapable fact that all adults are assholes. Also waifus. So many freaking waifus. But this is not a video about the game. I am not a game reviewer, and as such, as much as I would love to do a video on Persona 5 proper, I am just an anime guy. I love anime. It is my passion. So when we got the inevitable announcement that Persona 5 was going to be getting an anime adaptation and not just a one-off OVA that was more like an extended trailer of what a P5 anime would be like if it wasn't tied down by the expectation of being a one-to-one adaptation, I was elated. Because Persona 5 is a great game. It has a great story, great characters, and an aesthetic that I have been longing for. It is perfect, with no What, the protagonist's name is Ren? The manga called him Akira Kurusu. I went through the entire game with that as my name because I like to keep things like that canon, and now you changed it? What is this bull? This first reaction is brought to you by Crunchyroll, and viewers like you. Persona 5 the Animation is an anime for spring 2018 by A1 Pictures. It is directed by Musashi Hama and is based off the PlayStation title of the same name. It stars a young Japanese kid who finds himself branded a criminal and sent to Tokyo on probation. There he meets up with a variety of other misfits and will eventually band with them to form the infamous group known as the Phantom Thieves, who use a mysterious smartphone app to enter the hearts of various victims and try to steal their heart and make them change their horrible ways to better society and the world around them in general. Despite the numerical portion of its title, you don't actually need to have watched any Persona anime or played any Persona game prior to this to get some enjoyment out of this series. Persona is a franchise that is built off of one-off experiences, loosely connected in the same universe and containing similar themes, but largely they are all standalone. Hell, Persona itself is just a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, and you really don't need to play that in order to enjoy this. As far as adaptations go, this is not the first time that a Persona game has received an adaptation. Persona 3 has a series of films that cut out the monotonous tedium of a procedurally generated tower of corpses. My god, why does everything look the same? I go up some stairs and look, oh, more corridors. Yeah, what's left? More corridors.
I've been waiting for this.
Persona 4, the juggernaut of the franchise, is so much so that it got 2 adaptations, the second of which pushes the boundaries of what is acceptable in a game-to-anime adaptation as far as mechanics, basically being just a new game plus of an adaptation that, well, fell flat. What's that, you say? Trinity Soul? I've never heard of that. That can't be a real season. You can't call that a real season. We're just gonna push that. We're gonna push that out of the way. We're not gonna talk about that. But Persona 5 Animated has one major leg up in my mind next to its predecessors. And this might start a flame war, but I'm prepared. Persona 5 has a better story to work with.
Let me explain.
I am talking about the game's main overarching story. Persona 4's selling point, in my mind, was its characters. I love the cast of P4 to pieces, but the main story, the murder mystery of Inaba, was to me just a loosely created bridge that linked the amazing individual stories of the cast. Well, that and all the social links, which P4 did better, don't at me. Persona 5, though, and now by extension, Persona 5 the Animation, benefits greatly from having a main story that is fully engaging on its own merits. I will be far more invested in the story of the Phantom Thieves as a whole than I will be with An and how she's struggling as a model, or Ryuji's lack of a track and field career, or whatever it is that Iori does while standing out in traffic. Now, that's not to say that there aren't any individual standout stories from the game that might get glossed over in this adaptation. Kawakami had a blink-and-you-miss-it reference to her side job as a maid, and Tagumi's brief walk-by for a few scant frames might well be all we get. But that might just come down to a balance thing. Maybe because some confidants don't have interesting stories, and believe you me, some of them don't, the anime may decide not to include any of them. But I'd hope that the screenwriters took note of popular confidants from the game and are keeping those in mind for this adaptation, because I want more maid teacher. Less shogi player, more crazy doctor, less gun salesman. Hell, the data from the Thieves Guild should tell them all they need to know about the player's habits and which confidants were seen by more people. So let's hope they use it. I'm also looking forward to seeing if they decide to do something unique with the group's name. In the game, you could name your group of Phantom Thieves for some additional flair, even if all the voiceover just still referred to them as the Phantom Thieves. Sure, it'll be a lot easier to just not do that and leave it as the Phantom Thieves, but sometimes it's the little details that make the story shine. In the intro casino escape scene, for example, there is a whole quick bit from the game where the protagonist is running from the mob of cops outside, which gives us this quick visual reference to Lupin III that is unfortunately cut in the anime version. Now, the adaptation will probably give us far more references to the persona of Arsene itself, unlike the game where you guillotine personas every chance you get for newer, shinier models, unless you do an Arsene-only playthrough like a crazy person. Not that I am speaking from experience or anything, but the point that I am meandering around to is that references like those to Arsène Lupin helped to show both the main story's influence and particularly its aesthetics. I suppose, though, the biggest problem that I have with the show's aesthetics as a whole is just this constant feeling of close, but no cigar. There was one moment in episode 1 that I thought they nailed it, incorporating the location select screen from the game as a scene transition. Beautiful. But the rest would have been better if they didn't try to just loosely copy what the game did. The all-out attack from episode 2 was a good example of this. When they tried to draw the comparison with the game for nostalgia purposes, but don't do it well, or in some cases do it worse, really all they're doing is answering the question of which would win in a direct fight, the game or the anime. This is not a fight that they should have called attention to. However, there are many other moments where the animation clearly shows off its budget. While I mentioned the initial casino scene was cut short, the parts that we did get, I would argue, look better than their game counterparts. Except the anime's OP though, the game graced us with the expertise of Sayo Yamamoto's greatness, and the anime gives us a clip show from the episodes we're already watching? Yet no, what is this bull? Ultimately, the question becomes, should you watch this series? Well, that plus the additional question of, should you watch this rather than play the game? Now, personally, I am of the mind that more great content is always a good thing, and as such, I would tell you to watch the series wholeheartedly. It will not be a perfect adaptation. You can't cut a game with 100 hours of gameplay into a mere 24-episode series. There's a lot that just won't be touched on. The anime will not be able to recreate that feeling you get when you just laze around for a whole week in-game and do nothing meaningful because, gosh darn it, it's my free time, and if I want to go to the bathhouse every day, I'm gonna freaking do it. But sometimes, you just want to re-experience the story without the gameplay tedium, and that's exactly what this new series will be good for. This will not and should not replace the game. If you have the ability to go and play Persona 5, my god, go and do that thing. But when you are done, the anime will be here to keep you company, to make you smile, and to remind you to go to bed. So if you want to check out P5 the animation, there will be links down in the description to watch it over on Crunchyroll, which I do recommend doing. And as well, there will also be a link for a free trial of their premium service, which you will need in order to watch the series every week as new episodes come out. And that is it for me today. A very special thank you to all of my patrons who support my videos and allow me to continue to do what I do. You guys are amazing. And to you, my gentle viewer, thank you for watching. Until next time, stay frosty.